Just under a month into the NBA season, and we have many teams that already need a fix by way of trade, and we have some teams that need to do a better job of tanking, so they have players to trade. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about 25 players that could be traded by this year's deadline. I'm not saying every player will be traded, I'm just saying there's a chance. To start at 25, I have D'Lo. D'Lo does not have as much value as you would expect given the mock trades you normally see him in, as normally he is mocked in unrealistic trades that would land the Lakers a star in return. Although the value of him is exaggerated, he is in fact a player that may be on the move at this year's deadline. Jonas Valanciunas is considered to be a big-time name on the trade market as many teams find themselves in dire need of a center. But I think we need to remember there is a reason he is in Washington right now. If he is moved in a deal that makes sense, he is going to be a valuable addition for whomever may acquire him. But he isn't as good as his trade value would suggest. The Lakers are the favorite to land him, though, in my eyes, which I honestly don't love for the Lakers. At 23, I have Grayson Allen, who will only be moved if the Suns can land a center to replace Nurkic in the deal. Allen is more expendable now given the success he had last season and the performance of rookie wing Ryan Dunn, but it's really unlikely he's moved. An intriguing name to me is Raptors forward Chris Boucher, as he has had a great start to the season, and given the direction of his team and his versatility, many teams will look into acquiring him at the deadline. Dylan Brooks has become forgotten about in Houston, and with the rise of young players at the same position, moving Brooks is a possibility. Jared Vanderbilt hasn't played in so long that he may not be movable at this point. The 19th best player that may be moved is Jazz big man Walker Kessler. Many teams would love to get him, but it would take a big overpay for him, so I doubt he is moved. Malcolm Brogdon never plays, so the same thing I said about Jared Vanderbilt applies to him, even though he probably has more value. Kyle Kuzma has been awful this year, causing the overall value of him to take a huge hit, but there is a chance a team acts in desperation to get him. Jonathan Kuminga and his demand for a max is going to make the Warriors more open to trading him, even if he does continue to play at a good level. Also, considering that the Warriors are in the market for a superstar level player, the chance he is moved increases. I would honestly say that he is probably going to stay in Golden State due to the reluctance to move him, but if there is a superstar they can get and want, he will no longer be with the Warriors. Starting the top 15, I have Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart hasn't been the same player he was in Boston with Memphis. However, his defense, hustle, and leadership is still there, and with a need for all three of those intangibles, many teams may look into trading for Marcus Smart, and Marcus Smart may find himself moving on at this year's deadline. There are two teams that would welcome him with little hesitation, and they both are out east, as it is the Knicks and Bucks. I don't think financially it'll work out for Smart, ultimately leading me to believe a Marcus Smart trade is unlikely. Colin Sexton is one of the most underrated players in the NBA, and there are too many teams that need his defense, scoring, playmaking, and overall skill set as a basketball player. If you are a contender and need a guard, you must look into getting Colin Sexton. I believe that the Magic, Knicks, and Bucks would be the best landing spots for him. There is a 50-50 chance that he is moved in my eyes, as I don't believe teams are smart enough to look into trading for him. His teammate John Collins finds himself at 13, as he has been such an impressive player to start 2025 that he may have actually increased his value so much that teams are willing to trade for him despite his contract. He is a versatile player that can play any position 3 through 5, and that means teams like the Warriors, Hornets, and Grizzlies will probably be in his market. I don't think his value will grow more than what it will be by the deadline, so I would say there's a decent chance he is traded. Dorian Finney-Smith is overdue for a trade at this point, as the Brooklyn Nets forward clearly has no use to being on the Nets anymore, but the Cavs, Kings, and Pacers could use his talents. It is likely he is finally moved this year. Robert Williams has been amazing when healthy so far for the Trailblazers, and with DeAndre Ayton and Donovan Clingan already at the 5 position, and him having the most trade value while being easily movable financially, there is a likely chance he is traded. I would say the Pelicans, Grizzlies, and Knicks are the 3 best suitors for him. To start the top 10, we have surprise veteran player Dennis Schroeder, who has played like the player we see when he has the Germany national team jersey on. The only bad thing about him is that he is helping a Nets team that is trying to tank win too many games, so it is likely he is moved. The Magic would be a perfect fit for him, while the Timberwolves and Bucks are 2 teams that would also be good landing spots. His teammate Cameron Johnson is also a valued player given his shooting ability and size at the wing. The difference is that Cam Johnson may be viewed as a part of the core moving forward for the Nets team, but in reality, if the Nets are offered a solid package, the floor spacing wing will be traded. In order for him to be traded, the team he goes to will need to have a little contract flexibility, as he isn't on the best contract, so with that limitation, I would expect him to stay in the East, as the West is full of second apron teams. The three Eastern Conference teams I look at and I'm like, damn, this could be a good fit for him are the Magic, Hawks, and Heat. Who knows though, a Western Conference team could view him as their guy and be willing to add him. Again, there is a possibility the Nets want to keep him, leaving me to believe there's a 50-50 chance on a trade. Andrew Wiggins has been great to start 2025 and is a big reason as to why the Warriors have found themselves so successful early. However, there is no way for the Warriors to get around his contract in any attempt to acquire a premier second option to Steph, so Andrew Wiggins will all but certainly be moved if the Warriors pursue a high-level, expensive player. And knowing that, I would say there's a decent chance he is moved, but it is not because he is underperforming like it would have been if he was moved last year or in the offseason. As for best fits, I would say the Grizzlies, Bucks, and Pacers, but the teams that he would most likely end up with, well, they have a star player we will probably be discussing shortly. Jeremy Grant has been horrible to start 2025, but with the youth movement and desperation, there's a likely chance he is traded. But then you consider his contract, which has been the biggest factor in him rotting in Portland, and it leads you to believe it is really a 50-50 chance that he is moved. Hopefully he could end up with a team like the Nuggets, Clippers, or Lakers, but realistically he won't. With the center position being the main focus for many teams, Nikola Vucevic may be a prized possession on the market, as he has had his best season in Chicago ever. Being able to play on the perimeter, his value only grows, and I would expect the Bulls to get a haul for him, given the need many teams have at the center position. I think it is likely he is moved, and knowing that flexibility will be a big factor in his destination, it will come down to a bidding war between the Warriors and Hornets, with the Thunder keeping an eye open depending on how healthy their bigs are. His teammate Zach LaVine is just not going to be moved given his contract, but you will see many mocks of him being moved leading up to the deadline. If he is traded, it will probably be to the Magic or Lakers, with the Rockets being a sneaky team in the mix, but it is pretty unlikely he is traded unless someone really wants him to complement their point guard and solidify their backcourt. One of the most rumored names on the trade market throughout the offseason and the start of this season is Brandon Ingram, who finds himself at 4 on my list. Thankfully, the Pelicans didn't trade him, or else they would be cooked right now given the amount of injuries they have sustained in the young season, but if anything, the start has only increased his value across the league. Young teams with contract flexibility and expendable players have looked good to start this year, and adding Brandon Ingram may shift the narrative around them, so there is a chance he ends up with any of the Pistons, Spurs, or Hornets, but in the end, it is really just a 50-50 chance he is traded. Jimmy Butler has regressed, causing the chance of him being moved to grow, but there is a high confidence in me that says he will stay. If traded, he will most likely be heading west to either the Rockets, Warriors, or Grizzlies. 50-50 chance, but moving to the unlikely category. Trae Young trade rumors are fluctuating as we speak, as sometimes it seems highly likely, and then it is the complete opposite. I think it is unlikely that he is traded, but if he is, it will be to one of the Magic, Lakers, or Jazz. And then finally, we have Giannis, who you would be able to guarantee is staying with the Bucks, but the team's performance has been so bad that there is a chance. Very unlikely. But if he is traded, it will be to the Warriors, Thunder, or Heat. And he is by far the best player that may be available for trade. And with that, we conclude the 25 best players that could be available for trade at this very moment in time. Obviously, things will change by the trade deadline, but given the rumors, these are the 25 best players that could be moved. I hope y'all enjoyed. Y'all stay safe. Have a good one. Bye. If you want to check out my weekly recap in case you missed it, click on the video on the screen because we're going to break down if the Cleveland Cavaliers are really this good or if they are overrated.